So the part of the story I didn't tell you about though was when she got home that day, there was a check waiting for her on the kitchen table that had randomly showed up in the mail. And it was in a maiden name from 20 years ago before she got married. Well, then, so that means the question remains the same. Everything is vibrational. Everything has a vibrational base. Everything has a chord. When you look at the couch across your living room, it has a vibration that's to it. You know, somebody was thinking something, a specific intent was put in place when that couch was uh, created or born, if you will. When you look at a person and you watch them walking down the road, they have a specific vibrational sequence, a specific vibrational pattern based on what it is that they're thinking or feeling or have been thinking or have been feeling, etc. Right? The clothes they're wearing could have huge impact on what they're thinking, as are just their past, you know. So everything's vibrational. And when you take that into consideration, that's why it's so easy to just drop things out of the sky, right? So people say, well, it may be easy or it may be hard, but it's what you think of it, because that thought in itself of whether or not it's easy versus whether or not it's hard, that's all vibrational. So what I mean by it's all vibrational is, I'll tell you a story. There was this one time, one of my clients introduced me to another one of her friends, um, and so it was like a client friend affair, right? So it was me, several other women. We were hanging out in the back porch, and so I was talking about, yeah, but it's all just about random checks, and that's kind of why I like having their address, even though I don't mind traveling, right? Because at the time I was traveling, and so of course my client, right? She's like, "Man, that would be nice to have a random check delivered. I wish that would happen. That's never happened before." You know, and she was kind of sad about it. And so I was like, like, let me just do what I do. Let me play with this energy. So I was like, no, no, no. This is the truth. Checks are everywhere. Random checks and random money is everywhere. You could walk down the street and find money. You can ask somebody for money. You can get money by selling a product. And that also means that some of the money you receive comes in forms of check, cash, card, transfer, right? It's just a check, it's a piece of paper. So checks are everywhere. If you go to the bank, you see them constantly swiping them in those little machines to collect the data to have that money deposited into an account. Checks are everywhere. She's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, so checks are everywhere. And she's like, yeah, I suppose you're right. I said, okay, well, let's take it to the next step. If checks are everywhere and I get random money from places and things that don't exist just because I think about it, then that means you could also, I mean, if you were to think about it long enough, doesn't that mean that you could also get checks from random places also too? She said, yeah, I suppose you're right, but that's never, hold on a second, because you don't want to curse yourself. Maybe it's never happened before, but you've never actually sat down and thought about what it would feel like for a check to just randomly be sitting on your table waiting for you when you get home. Like, how cool would that be if you just went to the mailbox and poof, there was a check in there and your name, and you didn't have it, nothing was being expected, right? She's like, yeah, I guess that would be a first. And I was like, yeah, it would be a first. And imagine how happy you would be if that actually happened to you. And it was your very first time, and you were so excited, and you gave that little check a hug, and you deposited it into your bank account, and you sat there expecting that to happen again because you're just blessed. You know why? Checks are everywhere. And when you appreciate the random checks that you get in the mail, I'm just smiling thinking about it. So when you appreciate those vibrations, but that's a vibration, right? So when you appreciate that vibration, like I love getting checks in the mail. They could come from places I don't even know exist. Sometimes they come from people, right? But that's how that starts. It's just a thought, right? So when you're thinking about it, that thought becomes a vibration. And the more you think about it, the more it becomes attached to your emotions. So where, like, when I just first started talking about it, it was just a conversation. And now I'm actually excited about it. So the part of the story I didn't tell you about though was when she got home that day, there was a check waiting for her on the kitchen table that had randomly showed up in the mail. And it was in a maiden name from 20 years ago before she got married. So it can happen any point in time. It can happen right now, today. The fact of the matter is, What frequency are you on? What vibration are you holding? That is the key to manifesting magnificence, my darlings. That is the key. What key are you on? What note do you hold? What vibration do you possess?